Welcome to Space Socket. A 20-year-old says she doesn't know what to do for a man in marriage. Kevin Samuel steps in to break it down. Let's get into it.
God damn. Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. How old are you?
I am 20.
20. Oh my goodness, you're young. So what are we talking about tonight?
We are talking
Did you have
about
did you have a question or did you want to discuss? Because I have several topics and
um
none of
well,
them pertain to you.
I actually DM'd you yesterday and I
Oh,
commented
who's
what?
that with the camera over to the side?
My friend.
Oh, okay. Hey,
How's
how
it
are
going?
you? You DM me.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
I'm
Um
just saying I get a lot of DMs, man. That's all.
okay, well that's good to know. Um well, to introduce myself, I'm Emerson P. Daniel, a junior strategic legal management communications major, concentrated in organizational management from Ellicott City, Maryland, and I go to Howard University. Um, and so what I want to talk to you about is I'm a big fan of your work. And so I just I just want to chat, you know?
If you were a young woman in my shoes, what would you be thinking about?
I know you heard that. So if you were a young woman in my shoes, what is the best tip that you would give me?
What does your father tell you?
What does my father tell me? Well, my father tells me that he watches you actually.
Hmm.
All the men in my life, like the older men, they watch you and they say to, well, you asked one lady if she was raised to be a wife, and I was raised to be a wife.
Okay.
Um, and that's how I feel. I find that amongst my peers, that's not the popular narrative. You know, you seem as if you're gonna like you're wrong for wanting to be a wife, for wanting to be a woman in a relationship. Um,
Are you in a relationship?
no,
Have you been in a relationship?
yes.
How long ago?
I got out of it in February,
How long did it last?
a year.
When you graduate, what do you plan on doing?
Well, I'm interning right now. I don't have a specific like job that I want, but I have a bunch of internships, and I'm
What do
just
you want to do in your
applications.
20s?
What do I want to do in my 20s? If I had it my way, I would be a stay-at-home mom and raise my children. And then, or I would start my career when I have children, I would take care of them. And then I would, when they get old enough, I would want to go back to work. But I would definitely like to have that flexibility
How many children do you want?
too. But then I also think about living in this modern day. I fear for children and I fear for, the way that I fear for them growing up in this world. And what I mean by that is in terms of, they don't play outside anymore. They want to be involved in the screens. And there's a less interpersonal communication going
Whose
on.
responsibility is that?
Their parents, and that's why I would, step in there. But then they would be like a different kid. And when you're a different kid, you're like, Mom, I want to do this, I want to do this. And it can just become a huge fight
Fight with whom?
between a child and their parents.
On what planet?
Okay, not a fight, but the kid is always nagging and saying, "Oh, I want a phone, I want a
It's
phone."
called a belt.
I know, I know. But the belt, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be, but I shouldn't say that.
You said you're raised to be a wife?
Yes.
What'd your mother raise you to do for a man?
What did my mother raise me to do? What?
For a man.
Be a support system, cook, clean, um, to be, I don't, I'm on here and I'm on live with you, honestly. So I'm at a loss for words in terms of what it means to be a wife, but I
And
feel that
how can you say you were raised to be a wife then?
in society there's a certain connotation as what a wife is.
Use simple words. Don't worry about the college words.
A wife is a woman in a relationship. Oh, my
No,
connection is, or your connection is breaking
your
up. Can
my connection's fine. I have 5 bars.
you see me now?
I have
Okay.
not. A wife doesn't
Um,
have a connotation, ma'am. A wife is a job duty, just like a husband. Cooking,
a
and
job
cleaning.
duty to take care of the household.
Cooking, cleaning is something you have to do for yourself.
Hmm.
What specifically did your mother teach you to do for the man in your life?
There wasn't something where she sat down and was like, Emerson, you do
Then you
this and
can't.
this.
Then you weren't raised to be a wife.
Okay.
But I saw her be a wife.
Yeah, exactly. I saw her be a wife. So
You can
like
watch somebody do
couldn't
kung fu. That doesn't matter.
okay, so to you, what does it mean to be a wife?
You
And
need
what
to.
would
Okay. You need. These are the questions you need to ask your mother. You need to go ask your mother, Mom, what does it mean to be a wife? What am I supposed to do for my husband? How am I supposed to do these things?
okay.
I think he'll be a better person to ask than me. She's your mother.
Hmm.
Does she have the knowledge?
Hmm.
Then why didn't she transfer it to you if that's her number one duty?
Well, she says Emerson, like, I mean, when you're growing up, they say, don't wear provocative clothing.
They told you what not to do, but what did she tell you to do?
Well, you cook, you clean,
You
you
have to do that for your survival.
you support them in their endeavors with
Yeah, no, that's a passive. That's basically give me instructions and I'll do. No, proactive. I asked you a question. Does she have the knowledge? You said yes. I asked you why didn't she transmit it to you if it's her number one job? The mother is the first teacher of the child and the transmitter of the culture. Why did your mother, who has the knowledge, not transfer it to you? No, I'm not talking to you.
I don't know. I don't
Then that's
know.
a question you need to ask your mother. Because that's one of the problems we have today is so many women aren't teaching their daughters how to be wise. Did your mother encourage? I'm not talking to you, sir. I'm talking to the women. Please respect my show. Did your mother encourage you to go to college?
Yes.
Did your mother encourage you to pursue a career?
Yes.
So your mother has encouraged you more to be an individual.
No. In terms of going to college, she says you need to get a college education
For what reason? To get a job.
to get a job.
To be an individual.
However, but
No,
that's
no, no. See, your instinct is to defend your mother. I'm not trying to, but I'm saying your mother has told you what not to do, then she's told you what to do. Don't dress provocatively, go to college to get a degree so you can get a job, a career. But I ask you, what has she told you to do for a man? And there's crickets. Then you said you were raised to be a wife, but by whom? This is where the women are failing you young girls, mothers included. You said your mother has the knowledge. Then go ask her, Mom, you told me not to dress provocatively. You encouraged me to go to college. But what do I need to do for my husband?
okay. So she's told me to be a confidant, to be, supportive.
That is passive.
What do you mean by
A
passive?
confidant means I come to you and I confide in you. What has she actively told you to do for a man? Like cooking and cleaning. What has she actively told you? She said, be there to support him. How? to be a confidant. In short, your mother hasn't taught you.
Okay. So, in terms of, I understand. So, for you, or not for you, but in general, what does it mean to be a wife? What is this active
That's not,
definition?
in general, it's for women of the village to teach the younger women of the village. I'm pointing you to the knowledge base. I'm supposed to teach the men how to be warriors. I'm
Okay,
supposed to
so
teach the men how to fight. That's not my job to teach you. You have a mother. The first question you asked me is X, Y, and Z. And I said, what? What does your,
mother.
the first thing I said is, what does your father tell you? The
Yeah.
first thing I said, and you said, he told me these things. All right. That's his job. That's his duty. What has your mother told you to do for a man, your husband? She's told you what to do for Emerson to be a self-sustaining adult, cooking and cleaning. You do that for yourself. Going to college. She did not tell you to go to college to find a husband, did she?
Yes.
Did she teach you how?
Well, then what I
Has
was
your
taught is
mother taught you how?
you don't
You,
approach a man,
but what
let
did
a
she
man
teach you to do?
to basically to
Nothing.
sit pretty.
Passive. And this is why Becky, Marisol, and Mylene get the black men, because the women aren't teaching you guys how to actively go after. She's telling you to go to college to find a husband, but she's not telling you how to actively even put yourself. You're just supposed to sit there. Well, how would this approach work if you wanted to succeed scholastically or academically? Just showing up.
What approach?
Just showing up.
Oh, it wouldn't happen.
Okay.
Okay, well, are women supposed to approach men?
It's not the question. It's not the question. Your mother's supposed to teach you how to do something for a man, how to attract a man, how to keep a man, how to work with a man.
I understand.
Do you have
But
any
I want
sisters?
to know. I want to
Do
know.
you? Okay, but you need to ask your mother. I'm not going to overstep that line. Do you have any sisters?
Yes.
Do you have any brothers?
Yes.
Does your father teach your brother? Is your brother's older or younger?
Younger.
Does your father teach your brothers what a man is supposed to do?
If
How much younger? How old is the youngest?
17. So he's not quite there yet.
But okay, is your if your father's teaching you and watching me, he should be teaching his sons. But I'm asking your mother, has she taught? How many sisters do you have?
One.
You're older or younger?
Older.
Is she married?
Mm-hmm.
What has your sister taught you about finding working with the man?
She has, well, she is a stay-at-home mom,
Mhm.
and she worked, but then, once they had a
But
child,
what has she taught you? I mean, how many years older is she than you?
like 16.
So by the same mother?
Yes.
So your mother taught
She's a half sister, but
half
well, we're
sister,
close.
meaning what? She's your different father? Different
Mm-hmm.
father? Was
Mm-hmm.
she raised in the house with you?
No. Because she's old. I mean, so it was a long time ago. Like it was in she
Well, if
had her
you're, all I'm trying to understand is if your older sister's married, who taught her how to be a wife? That's all I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand what your mother's teaching you. And it doesn't sound like your mother's teaching you how to be a wife. And if you're saying, was your sister, your sister that's older, was she raised by your mother?
well, yes, kind of.
Okay. So, your mom.
Well, should you, okay, so as a wife, you should give your husband undivided attention, right?
Ask your mom.
Why can't you tell me anything?
Because I'm not your mother. Why is it so hard for you to ask your mother these questions?
It's not,
But,
not.
but,
I would like to learn from you.
it's not my job to teach you. Whose job is it to teach you?
My mom's.
Why don't you want to learn from your mother?
I do.
Isn't she married?
Mhm.
Do you guys have a relationship where you can talk about things?
Mhm.
No.
Okay, I will ask her. I will ask her.
Do you understand this out of place? You asking a man how to be a wife, and you haven't asked your mother how to be a wife? And
Yeah.
your mother hasn't taught you how to be a wife? Your mother taught you don't dress provocatively and go to college.
I would argue against that.
I don't care what you argue against, ma'am. You're arguing in ignorance. You're 20 years old and you're arguing in ignorance. Any argument you would make is going to be feelings based. You're the same woman that says, I was raised to be a wife, and I ask you how. And we've just broken it down step by step.
Okay, so being raised to be a wife is more so from an instruction or active sense and not from observation.
Can you observe how to drive a car? You can
Yeah.
observe it, but does it teach? Do you learn? Can you drive one just by observation?
Not completely, no.
Not completely, not even partially.
Yes, you can.
Check that.
I grew up in the car, and then when it was time for me to drive it,
Check that attitude.
okay.
It's inappropriate, young lady.
Okay.
Would you talk to your father that way? Do you know how to cook?
Yes.
So you think the best way to learn how to cook is watching someone and then going off memory.
No, that's not the best way to learn.
Well, then if watching is part of it, but it's not all of it.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm.
your mother has not taught you. She's told you what not to do and where to go. She told you to go to college to find a husband, but she hasn't told you what to do to find one. And she even told, so y'all got conversations to have. And this is the point. And why am I doing this, folks? Is because in the black community, black women do not teach their daughters how to become wives. Even the women who know how to be wives don't teach it. They teach their daughters to go to school and become individuals. And then you get young ladies like you who are confused. And then when you ask, go to your mothers, you got this over reverence for mom. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. When you should be going and saying, why didn't you teach me this stuff? Because in the sexual marketplace, in the wide world, you're behind. You said in your 20s you want to be a wife. You weren't raised to be a wife. You're raised to get a job. The school you got this. You spent all the. You spent more time talking about who you are and your degree and everything else. And I asked you about being a wife, and it's crickets. So can you honestly say you're being prepped to become a wife, or you're being prepped to become a single woman working?
Being prepped to become a single woman working.
And if you don't want that, you need to go to the woman who you say has the knowledge and ask her, why didn't you teach me? And you need to press her 10 times harder than you pressing a stranger on Instagram. But can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear about what happens when you press your mother, because you should. Ask her, Mom, why didn't you teach me?
Okay.
Ask your sister. Ask the women in your family that are married.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, let's break this down clearly. A 20-year-old not fully understanding what it takes to contribute in a marriage isn't shocking. It actually reflects a lack of experience more than anything else. And this is where Kevin Samuels comes in with that structured perspective. Because marriage isn't just about feelings or titles. It's about roles, responsibilities, and mutual contribution. Now let's be real. No one expects someone at 20 to have everything figured out. But the issue comes when there's a desire for marriage without a clear understanding of what it requires on a day-to-day level. A strong relationship is built on value exchange. That can include emotional support, respect, cooperation, communication, and creating a stable environment where both people can grow. It's not one-sided. It's a partnership. The key here is learning. Instead of focusing only on what you want from a partner, it's just as important to ask, what do you bring into a marriage that adds value and stability? This is where Kevin Samuels' style of questioning would push for awareness, looking beyond surface-level expectations and really understanding how relationships function long-term. Because without that understanding, people can walk into marriage unprepared, which often leads to conflict or disappointment. So the takeaway is simple. It's okay not to know, but it's not okay to stay unaware. Growth, learning, and self-development are what prepare you for something as serious as marriage. At the end of the day, it's not just about finding the right person. It's about becoming the kind of person who can actually sustain a healthy relationship.